You hear that? The president's got his Supreme Court his nominee. He's putting him up right now. It's he's not procrastinating. Foreshadow. Say hey connectors, DK here. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're enjoying yourselves. Getting to be a little nicer outside. Spring is on the way, and with spring comes the idea of planning, getting ready. Planning. It's the thing we love to do. Not really. No, who am I kidding? It's not really the thing we want to do. Nobody wants to plan. Nobody wants to take the time to look through what needs to be done and put it out on a schedule and then maintain that schedule and then honor that schedule. Normally what we do is we sort of, we wing it. Was I saying we? I meant me. Yeah, I'm a procrastinator. I'm talking about me. Spoiler alert, I'm a procrastinator. No, I really don't know what the deal is about that. I mean, in a weird kind of way, I like planning. I actually like the idea of setting up schedules and timelines and waterfalls and production schedules and all the other words that we use for basically getting yourself in order. I actually like doing that. But for some reason, I'd rather have fun. Now, I'm sure to many of you, that sounds familiar to you. You have all the intention. You might have even done the planning, and then all of a sudden it sort of turns into low gear or neutral, where you're not doing anything. I mean, look at even this video. I had planned to do this video last night. Why? Because the lighting would have been better. And now look at this. I'm doing it with this. So I got this sort of, this. So why do we delay? Why do we take up all this time and energy in planning something just to turn around and just wreck the whole thing that you did and to delay and delay? Well, some of it is biology. Some of it is actually built in us. There's an awesome TED Talk you got to check out, and I'll put a link in the doobly-doo. It's a guy named Tim Urban, and he's got a blog, and the blog is called Wait, But Why? And in his blog and on his TED Talk, he talks exactly about this, and he says it's our brains, the way that our brains are set up. We actually have a rational decision maker that wants to be leading us, but then there's this other thing that he awesomely calls the instant gratification monkey, which is sitting next to our rational decision maker and saying, no, hang on. Let me take the wheel a little bit for the brain here. Let's do that, because there's a million other things that we could be doing other than the thing that we know rationally we need to get done because of a deadline or because of it imposing something else. There's a barrier coming up that we need to make sure that we can get over, or there's a deadline coming up that we need to hit. But the irrational part of us, this idea of the instant gratification, always tips the scales in favor of, give it a second. Like right now, you're watching my video. You probably have work to do. I mean, wait on it. Finish the video. But you probably should be doing some work. So what can we do? What can we do to get that rational part of our brain back on the wheel, making us move forward and do the things we need to do? Well, I suggest that we have three and a half things that you should think about when putting together your plan to fight your procrastination. 1, create a list. You gotta have a list. List is what keeps you on target. A to-do list, it sounds crazy, but it always works. Because there's something great about having the list, that's your planning, but then crossing off the list, showing you movement, showing you that you're actually doing things. So create your list. Make sure you get everything done you need to do. Put that list every day in front of you and say, I've got to get through this. I've got to make this happen. If something on your list doesn't happen, you have to justify how and why it didn't get done. But then you have to move that. You have to realize that there is a deadline coming up, and all of these things have got to get done. Oh, yeah. Hi, Cousin Casey. Number 2, take some breaks during the day. I know that sounds counterintuitive to trying to be working and not procrastinating, but breaks, scheduled breaks, are super important because it gives your mind a second to breathe, to take a breath, to wait, hang on just a second. Make sure you can reevaluate where you are, where you need to go. Take a look at that to-do list and make sure you got everything covered. If you feel like you're just going to cram, you're going to get yourself in a position where you are actually doing less work. So, take some moments. I've talked about in the past idea breaks, which I think are super, super important. That's that idea of getting away from the tasks that you're doing and start allowing your mind to get creative into other projects and new ideas, concepts that have nothing to do with the day-to-day work on your to-do list. But they are ways to sort of separate yourself for a second, to get back in. It's sort of the rubber band idea. You stretch yourself out a little bit to snap right back and get ready to go. So think about breaks strategically, not breaks as in, I'm just not going to do anything today. Numero tres, singles and doubles. When planning, when looking at what you need to do, when looking at what is around in the tasks on your lists, you got to get them into bite-sized chunks that you can do and get successes from. Singles and doubles is the idea of baseball. You can get up to the plate and you can try to hit home runs. I talk about this a lot in my friend-raising to fundraising conversations and seminars and workshops I do in the nonprofit sector. Everybody goes after the big whales. They go after the big donors, the major donors. They want to start the process at the top and hit that home run. But really, you need to plan singles and doubles. Move the runners forward. Ducks on a pond. But when you win by moving the runner forward, getting them to second base, stealing to third, getting them on a sac fly to home. Singles and doubles, small ball as it's called. Getting the runner home by moving them singles and doubles wise. Just as effective, if not more. And from a procrastinator standpoint, singles and doubles give you some success. Your tuning fork will go off and you'll go, ooh, I feel good. I'm getting some victories here. The small victories lead to larger victories. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but you can keep moving forward and not feel the procrastination kick in on you and slow yourself down. So when you're looking at your list, make sure that that list also includes bite-sized pieces, the morsels that you can take and have victories in. Singles and doubles, they always win for you. And what's that little half step that I had suggested? That's simple. That's remember to find your joy. Remember the joy of the work that you do, the passion that moves you. A lot of us in the nonprofit and social enterprise sector, we talk a lot about working with purpose and working with passion. And sometimes in the day-to-day slog of building your lists, of doing the work that you need to do, we forget this because now we're in the trenches. Now we got lots to do and we have no time for idealism. We have no time for unicorns and rainbows. We need to get things done. There is something to be said for that kind of driven nature. But if we do that and sacrifice the purpose, if we sacrifice our joy and love of what we do, a lot of times that's what causes us to slow down. Procrastination kicks in, and all of a sudden, before we know it, we're not as driven, and we slow down, and we delay, and we put off. And some of us, we actually do this because we think, well, let me get my purpose back, let me get my drive back. Let me get my joy back and then I'll do it. And now procrastination is kicked in because now you've justified a way to move the goalpost and push it back. Find your joy at the very beginning and keep it. Make sure you have that there. And I know some of you are saying right now, DK, man, I am not in a position where joy is the number one thing that I come to. Then give yourself those moments during those idea breaks I had mentioned before. Give yourself time to figure out unique ways to remind yourself of things that make you happy. What are the things that bring you joy? One of them could be, if you get these projects done, you have more free time to take care of yourself, your family, your friends, have fun, go out and enjoy some things, activities that you may not be doing right now. You'll have more time to do them. Passion projects. This will give you that chance. Remind yourself of those things and make sure that you give yourself time to find and keep that joy throughout all the work that you're doing. And so there you go. I mean, procrastination hits us all, but hopefully these little 3.5 tips will be something to help you out with your procrastination. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here. My name is DK, and I appreciate you connectors for hanging out with me for a little bit. Make sure you like us on Facebook. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Make sure you go to our website, check us out. If you are interested in getting some consulting or get some services with us, we are more than happy to hang out with you. Give us a call. We'll talk a little bit more. But until then, I'm DK. Thank you so much for hanging with us here. We'll talk to you soon.